Look, everybody, it's EDT 1138. Pickup time.
All right, yes, it's pickup video time. And I got some interesting stuff. I was going to show it to Trevor here, and then I figured I may as well shoot a pickup video. I haven't been shooting many videos lately. I just haven't been in the mood. He talked me into it, though. And yes, I'm capable of putting an image of him up here, but this is much funnier.
Yep.
See, he's laughing. Now, I'm going to start off with stuff that I picked up sort of at random here, which is not really much. I got a copy of Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo. I actually walked into the Goodwill in Ashland, Ohio, and they never have video games. But on the bottom shelf of the DVD and VHS movie rack, I saw like 4 games sitting there, and Super Mario Kart was one of them. I'm holding this up and you can't see Trevor. See that? Oh my God, you're over here. See that? There you go, Super Mario Kart. I already have a copy, but I think my little brother or my son or any one of my friends would be happy to have it. So, $4, you gotta pick it up, I think, right? Right? I'm sorry, right?
Absolutely. It's one of the only SNES games I have.
Oh, it's really? What else do you got?
Yep. Zelda and Ninja Turtles.
Huh. All right, well, good choice. I suppose if you have to have just 3 Super Nintendo games, those are 3 good ones to have.
Absolutely.
All right, then I was at, what was I at? The Salvation Army in, I don't know what city it is. It's between 2 cities, and I'm not sure which one it is. I can't remember. But if you remember, a couple, I don't know, was it like a month ago or 2 months back? I can't remember. I picked up a box copy of Final Fantasy, and it had everything in here. It had the little styrofoam thing in the bottom. It had the manual here, but it didn't have the maps. Still, though, for $5, really cool to get a box copy of Final Fantasy. Then I was at this Salvation Army place, and they had a copy of Final Fantasy here, loose, and it was, what was it, $7? No, I wasn't at the Salvation Army. I got that at the Salvation Army. I got this at the Hoodwill in Maple Heights. And,
the Hoodwill?
yeah, well, my little brother nicknamed it the Hoodwill, but this was $7, but since it was Monday, everything's 50% off, so for $3.50, my math is right?
I
Yeah?
think so.
Okay. They had the manual, which I don't need, and the maps. So I now have a complete copy for a total of, what is that, $8.50? Something like that? Yeah. I'm sorry, I have somebody to help me now, so you have to double check my math.
Yep, I did it.
I went to the public school in the United States. I don't know, were you a public school kid in Canada?
Except for 1 year.
Oh, 1 year? All right, well, maybe that 1 year private school will make up the difference.
Probably not.
I got something on eBay, but I'm going to show you that last. If you guys remember, I had taken in a bunch of PlayStation and PS2 games and traded them in. The ones that I got, I don't know, I talked about it on my last video like 3 weeks ago. I had a bunch of discs that they refused. They didn't want them because they were all scratched up. Well, I got the idea that instead of just chucking things, because most of them wouldn't play either, I was going to try and clean them up. And I had that Skip Doctor I'd picked up for like $3 at a Goodwill somewhere, and it didn't work. I went ahead and bought a buffing wheel for my grinder, and I loaded that on there, cleaned up all the discs, took them in, and I got more money for the discs they wouldn't take a week later than I did for the discs that they did take before. Does that make any sense? That makes no sense to me. You?
Nice. More money.
Yeah, thanks. So anyway, I got a bunch of money. I used the money to buy my son a copy of Pikmin 2 for the Nintendo Wii. Then I picked up a few more things for myself. I picked up Championship Pro-Am, and it was a loose copy. I printed out a cover. This is not my best work. It's actually a really crappy cover, but I couldn't find a better one, so it'll work for right now. This, I didn't realize, Trevor, is actually the sequel to RC Pro-Am. Did you know that?
I did not.
I had no idea, because the cartridge looks like this. And I've seen it a bunch of times. I always assumed that this was like a golf game until somebody mentioned it in one of their pickup videos, and lo and behold, it's actually the sequel to RC Pro-Am, which is one of my favorite games ever. Have you ever played RC Pro-Am?
Maybe when I was younger.
Alright.
Not recently, though.
The answer is no. You've never played RC Pro-Am. Alright, you need to play RC Pro-Am, or if you want to play the Sega Genesis version, you can get Championship Pro-Am. And it is really pretty much the same thing. It's got very similar sound effects, although genocide, how do you say that? Genocide, yeah. really cool
Is
game.
that what the actual cover looks like?
Yeah, that is what the actual cover would look like, only it wouldn't be all blurry like that. I don't know if you can see how blurry that is. It looks terrible. I had to like
So
blow
colorful,
it up.
I have to seek out that game now.
What's that?
It's so colorful, I have to seek out that game now.
Well, the best thing is, it's like a really cheap game, too. I've been looking at this thing for years for like $2.50, and I never bought it because, again, I thought it was some kind of golf game. But it's not. It's RC Prom, and I could have been enjoying it for like the last 20-plus years if only I had known. I've never.
Maybe it would have been better than Road Rash. You don't know.
It could be. I've never seen a boxed copy before, so I guess it's not entirely my fault. So I got that. I also got a Sega Saturn game that I did not have. I don't think. Did I have this?
I don't know.
No, I didn't have this. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've actually had them out since I bought them. A game called Shell Shock for the Saturn. It looks like you drive around in a tank and blow shit up. So, I mean,
nice.
Crap. See, now you've inspired me to say bad words again. I have a hard enough time.
One bad word this time.
No, you haven't, but I just did. Yeah, you drive around and kill stuff with tanks, so not such a bad thing. Got, yes, I got a sports game, but it was $2.50, and I cannot pass up a Sega CD game for $2.50. Can you blame me?
Absolutely not.
Any Sega CD game. And
for the case alone,
oh yeah, for sure. I would definitely want the case, but it turns out I thought I had it. I don't. I do not have this. I have NHL something or other for the Saturn, and I thought I had this for the CD, but I do not. What's that? NHL 96? I think I've got two NHL games. I think I've got NHL 97 and NHL All-Star Pro Hockey.
As long as it's not that dreaded NHL 96.
Did they make NHL 96 for the Saturn?
For the Saturn? No, I don't think so.
I bet it would. I bet it would solve all of your issues with NHL 96.
Oh God!
I think it'd be much better.
No more 96. No more 96.
And then I got something that I was talking about with Ryan right now, not too long ago. He's going to be very upset that I got this. I got Dune for the Sega CD, and he has Dune for the Genesis. Has been telling me for a long time that's really, really good, and that I would love the music on it. Well, then he found this, the ROM for this, and he was playing it, but it didn't have the music because you need the disc to play the music. It reads the music off the disc while you're playing. And I have a copy of Dune for the Sega CD, so I can't wait to give this one a try. It looks really good, too. I don't know. You're not going to be able to tell. This camera doesn't have nearly as good a picture, but I don't know. It looks pretty cool. Got some video game cutscenes. Ryan says the music is good. Hopefully it'll be better on the Sega CD. And,
He's told me lots of good things.
What's that?
He's told me lots of good things about that game.
I know, he talks it up big time. I don't know if it's actually any good or not. What else did... Oh, you know what? I can talk about this for the first time. Because I actually have a working unit now. This is the Neo Geo X. And it's not as good as a few people have said. It's also not nearly as bad as most everybody else that's talked about it has said. It's actually a decent little handheld. I expected when I got it that it was going to be, you know, a limited system that only played Neo Geo games, and I knew it was going to be emulation because obviously you can't shrink an entire Neo Geo down and put it in here. It's going to be some kind of emulation, either software or hardware. But yeah, it's not bad. The first one I had was absolutely awful. The sound was really, really low, and it crackled really bad, and then it eventually stopped working altogether. And the up micro switch was funky. It didn't register half the time. So I got another one, and it works pretty good. I don't have a major problem with the handheld itself. The volume on this is much better. It's got a really nice picture. The one complaint I have about the handheld is, and let's see if I can turn it on here, the orientation of the screen is reversed. And what I mean by that is, not that the picture's upside down, but when you have an LCD screen, it always looks better from one angle than it does the other, you know what I mean? Well, this one, it looks better if you're looking at it from this angle, which is stupid because you're never going to play it facing this way. You know, you might hold it facing like this, and if you're holding it like that, the screen kind of fades to white. You can't see it very well. They should have had the screen flip-flopped so that, well, you know what I'm trying to say. It would look better if they had the screen flipped the other way around. So that would be my only major complaint about this. Most of my complaints with this involve the base unit that you use to plug it into the TV, and they're all because of the picture. It is dark whether you use HDMI or composite, it's kind of dark, and the colors are all off. I don't know. You have to see it to understand what I'm talking about, but I don't know. Not as bad as some people say. I did
Would you recommend it?
I wouldn't recommend it for what they're selling it for, but I got a decent discount because the manager in the store felt really bad for me because I was in there 4 times to pick it up when he told me it was, and it was never there. So he gave me, what did he give me? I guess it'd be a 25% discount is what I got off of it.
Nice.
So yeah, you know what? For that price, I would take it. For, the regular price, probably not. I'd say wait until they get it right, because this is not quite right. Pretty close though. So that's why I didn't talk about that. I'm not going to do a review on it because everybody and their brother has done a review, and there's just not much else I can say about it. I got a couple more things here that I'm going to show you. I got something I've been wanting to get for a while. Well, kind of. I got this here, and it's going to cover Trevor up. But I think I can hold it like this. Then you can see Trevor too. It is the Sears Video Arcade 2. And what this is the American version of the Japanese Atari 2800. It's an Atari 2600 that is just shaped like a 7800. And sorry, I got wires hanging down here. This is it here. And I wish I could light it up for you because it looks kind of cool. It's got 4 controller ports on the front, and that's because there are a couple of 4-player games for the Atari 2600. One of them being one of my favorite games, Warlords. And the reason they have 4 separate ports for it is because the joysticks look different. This is the joystick, and it looks vaguely reminiscent of the Atari 7800 controller in that you hold it like this, and the joystick's on top. But what's neat about this is, kind of like the Gemini controllers, the Coleco Gemini, they twist. So this is a paddle controller as well as a joystick. And if you want to play 4-player Warlords, you have to have 4 of these. Now I only have 2 of these, but I'm hoping that the Gemini controllers will work, so I haven't tried it yet to see. The system, though, works very well, and the picture is really nice. It's the best RF picture I have seen so far on an Atari console. It's really good.
Should we call it the 3000 though?
No, I don't know why. In Japan, they called it the Atari 2800. I'm not sure why. And it looked exactly like that. And I don't know if you remember back, I did a video, I think it was a response to somebody. Oh no, it was a Top 3 Tuesday, where Kid Shoryuken asked the top 3 question, and it was, what import system would you have if you could have any import system? And I named 3 that he had never heard of before. One of them was the Atari 2800, and apparently Sears bought up whatever was left over and sold it as the Video Arcade 2. But really cool to get in a box, and I got a great deal on it. Normally this thing goes for upwards of $100, $150 in a box. Now the box is not in the best shape, but the console is really nice, really clean, and it works really well. And I got it really cheap. The really cool thing is the seller. I found that, and then when I clicked on other items from this seller, I found this. And I don't know if can you even see that?
APF M1000?
MP1000, yes. This was one of the consoles that I wanted to get. It's one of the 2 remaining consoles that I wanted to get, and I got it off that guy. And it was also very, very cheap. And the reason it was so cheap is he had these listed in video game accessories. And the only reason I found it was because I didn't just type the name in, because he put it in APF M1000, all one word. Nobody looks it up like that. The only reason I found it is one of my old tip videos I mentioned that you need to assume that everybody listing stuff or looking for stuff on eBay is an idiot, because they spell everything wrong. And it doesn't matter if you go back later and change the title, all the searches go by your original title. So even if you had gone back later and changed it and spelled it correctly, it would have still come up spelled wrong. Now, I came in at the last second, and I'm one of those snipers. I put a bid in at the last second on both of these and got it for the minimum price. And one of these sold for almost 3 times as much as I paid for both of these, like 3 days later.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm not upset at all. I was very happy to get that cheap. And it's funny because it was literally like 2 or 3 days after I posted that video talking about how I wasn't going to drop it now, I'll destroy it. I was talking about not wanting to get this because it was too expensive and I wasn't going to bother trying, and then this one popped up. So that is one
you just have
goal.
To save that for everything.
What's that? I know, I should say that.
You just have to save it for everything.
Now I just have to come across an Odyssey, and I'll be totally and utterly complete.
Well, say you give up on it. Just say it, and then maybe you'll see it.
I give up. And, gee, is that it? Yeah, that's everything. I think that's everything I want to talk about. What else? Oh, no. I also got this camera here, which you guys can't see because I'm using it to film stuff. I walked into this little discount outlet store that's down the road from here, and I was buying potato chips and, I think, soda for my wife on the way home from work.
Pop.
And while I was... Pop, yes, exactly. We call it pop. They call it pop there?
We call it pop here. Canada calls
we
it pop.
call it pop here too, but if you go an hour south, it's soda. If you go an hour south of that, it's soda pop. So, I don't know. Yeah, but we've always
People
called it
don't call
pop.
it soda here.
Nobody calls it soda here? Actually, if you go far enough south, they call everything Coke. If you buy Mountain Dew is Coke. If you buy Pepsi, Pepsi is Coke. Everything is Coke if you go far enough south here. The hell was I just saying? Oh yeah, the discount outlet. And while I was waiting in line, I noticed behind the counter they had these little flip cameras. The connection between you is too slow for good video.
I know, I was tweaking out.
Well, we haven't had good video the whole time, so I don't think it really matters now. And then you guys, it's even worse for you. So anyway, they had these little flip cameras, and I picked up one of their refurbished ones for 15 bucks. And I used it to film a little bit of video, which I'll insert at the end, of me cleaning the discs. I was actually going to put that in the middle, and then I was going to come back and have you say, wow, that was amazing, even though you didn't see it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to show you how it is I repaired all of those CDs that I ended up trading in. And this is the game I'm going to use. It was bought for me by my friend Eldon, if I remember correctly, Chrono Cross, for the PlayStation. And the only real problem with this is that disc 2 is scratched up to the point that it just won't read anymore. And I'm going to try and show you, but the lighting is not great. But there you can see some of the scratches. Trust me, it's bad enough that it doesn't work. And I'm going to hopefully fix that for you here. This is the buffing wheel, and I have it temporarily attached to my 6-inch bench grinder, which I've had for quite some time. Got it for 20 bucks on sale. And this is the buffing wheel that I have. I got it from Menards for $4.99. And normally the bench grinder goes for between 20 and 30 bucks. The buffing wheel goes for between 5 and 10. Start it up, let it spin up to speed, move the case out of the way so I'm not breaking it. And the first thing you want to know, do not hold it in one place too long because it can damage the disc. But I use two different motions. I use, I guess, up and down, for lack of a better term, what I'm doing there. And occasionally there'll be a scratch running the other way. And I will, I guess, buff it on its side. What I'm going to do right here. And that is to get rid of scratches running the opposite direction. And this is normally the way I do it. I'll go through and I'll spot check and hit all the really bad scratches first. And then I'll sort of rotate like you see me doing here and buff out the entire thing. And then I'll go back through and check again for any bad spots. And yeah, aside from not holding it in one place too long, another thing you don't want to do is hold it so the top of the disc connects to the wheel. Because, well, that will be bad. That's the way the wheel's turning, and if it catches wrong, it will destroy it. So, that's it. And it takes me, I don't know, about 3 minutes per disc, depending on how bad it's scratched. I did cut a little bit out here because my shoulder got in the way. And here I'm doing my final buff. Now, normally I would wear gloves with this, but I could not find the stupid things. I am wearing safety glasses, which I highly recommend you do. But aside from my fingerprints, you can see that the disc is now in very nice condition. So hopefully this will work for you guys too.
Wow!
Oh, that's terrible. I was so it's weird having somebody else with you. I was so distracted.